Boy. Thank you, and thank you to all my fellow speakers, and I think I'll echo Tim's sentiments, and I'm going to keep this very short. Thank you for your respect in sitting there in the warm weather and listening to our speeches acknowledging your commitment to communities right across Australia. City of Melbourne is really proud to support the ԹING Festival because it's very much about the hard work of the Vietnamese community, your respect for family, your need to celebrate the next generation, but it's also about fun. If you take a look around you, the ԹING Festival isn't just about hard work, it's about great food, and it's about having fun with your families and bringing your families back together, which I know is so important for the Vietnamese community. I have been immersing myself in Vietnamese culture. In fact, I undertook a pho eating competition yesterday, and I lost by 1 second to my fellow councillor. So I'm very disappointed about that, but I'm going to keep on practicing. 2 minutes 36 was my time, if you'd like to beat it. We think too about all the things that are going on here, the tennis competition, the table tennis competition, which you can see just over here inside the big top, the wonderful food that's on offer, and I think important that many of our other speakers have acknowledged the history of the Vietnamese community and the contribution that the Vietnamese community has delivered to Australia, that hard work ethic that you bring, but also that enjoyment in life that hard work brings as well. I think the other thing as well is when you come together like this and celebrate as family, you come from a positive place, that you acknowledge some of the atrocities and the difficulties and the tough things that your families have endured, and in fact that you may have endured in the past, but you look forward with optimism, with hope, and that's what every Vietnamese Australian that I've encountered has given me, in a sense. Has instilled in me that hope, that belief in a bright and compelling future. I think the other thing too is about valuing culture, and I echo my fellow speakers in the fact that we're all Australians here, but to celebrate culture, over 200 different cultures in the City of Melbourne alone, is really our strength. And I'll just mention briefly some of the difficulties over the past few weeks with what happened in Burke Street, and we talked about reports in the media of evil coming to the city, and some really terrible messaging. But what the other side of that was about how we came together, how strangers offered each other help, how people from different genders, cultures, religions dropped everything and came to the aid of their fellow Melburnians. And in a sense, again, I think that's reinforced with the Vietnamese community and respecting your culture and celebrating that culture, but also being proud Vietnamese Australians. So I really hope that you enjoy the ԹING Festival. I'm going to keep it very short so you can actually enjoy it, all the things that are on offer here. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Aaron. So up next, we've got Councillor Catherine Cumming, Mayor of City of Maribyrnong. So Catherine, please come on stage.
Kế tiếp, Châu xin mời nghị viên Catherine Cumming, thị trưởng Hội đồng thành phố Maribyrnong.
Is this the one? Yeah. Hello everyone, I'm Councillor Catherine Cumming, I'm the Mayor of the City of Maribyrnong. I'm actually celebrating my 20th year on council this year, so I feel very fortunate that I've worked with the Vietnamese community for those 20 years. I'd also like to acknowledge that we're on the traditional lands. I'd also like to acknowledge all the VIPs here today, but I'd also like to make a special mention to my fellow councillors, who are Councillor Sarah Carter, who is the Deputy Mayor of the City of Maribyrnong, Councillor Cook Lamb, Councillor Gina Huyn, Councillor Mia McGregor, Councillor Simon Crawford, and Councillor Martin Zakharov. I have been very lucky to have actually Vietnamese councillors on my council, and I've actually had 2 mayors from the City of Maribyrnong, Councillor Mai Ho and Councillor Nam Quoc, who I miss very much. All right, let's start. Chúc mừng năm mới. So since the 80s, the Vietnamese communities actually have established many businesses in Footscray, and as Colleen was saying earlier, they have been our neighbours. They've opened up fabulous restaurants that has actually attracted the broader community in Victoria. Your contribution to my city has been great in the way of making it a wonderful place to actually live and celebrate. Last year, we actually acknowledged the city's vibrant multicultural history with the installation of the Saigon Arch in the Little Saigon precinct. This landmark sculpture was developed as a collaboration between the council, the state government and the community. And I'd like to just acknowledge Matthew Guy for that contribution back then, but I look forward to working with the Andrew government for more money. So many politicians, I can't help myself. The arch features a pair of Vietnamese blackbirds alongside other symbols that are meaningful to the Vietnamese community. The arch celebrates, obviously, the rich and diverse contribution that the Vietnamese community has given to Footscray for the last 40 years. It also honours the mix of traditional contemporary Vietnamese culture, and you really should actually come and have a look because it's beautiful. I'd also like to, I guess, because of all the politicians here today, I actually look forward to working with the federal government, the state government, because council's actually wanting to build a cultural centre, a Vietnamese cultural centre in Footscray. So this won't be the last time you've seen me. I've been just newly elected for another 4 years, so I'm very much looking forward to working with all the MPs in the room on behalf of my Vietnamese community. So thank you.
Also, our Brimbank Vietnamese neighbours. I've just sat beside a neighbour in my own street who's just opened up a new business there, so it's nice to meet him. We've got Loc Trin over here, who's my neighbour in Monash Street. So great to see you here, and great to see all the people from Brimbank here as well. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'd also like to acknowledge the presidents of the RSLs that are here today, Sunshine RSL and Footscray RSL, and Bruce Davies, the architect of the Vietnamese War Memorial, a commemorative war memorial being built in Sunshine at the moment, about to be built in Sunshine. So welcome to those guys as well. On behalf of the council, I'd also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the Wurundjeri people and their elders past and present. Their lands are these lands, and we need to acknowledge them always, I feel. Thanks very much for inviting me to the event. As I said, I'm very honoured to be representing Brimbank here today in the Year of the Rooster and at the Tet Festival. It's my first one, and I hope to be coming to many more in the years ahead. The new year is for many of us a time for a new start, as a number of speakers have said. And after taking some time to reflect on this year that's passed and its high and lows, we now look forward with anticipation to the year ahead. The theme of today's festival is Rise and Shine, which is a perfect way to encourage all of us to start afresh and to truly live our lives. Perhaps the lesson that we can all take away from this is that celebration each day could be approached in the same way as a new year, with positivity, optimism and knowledge that we have the love and support of our families, friends and the community. And in Brimbank, we are really trying to put community first and live those principles. We look forward to the Year of the Rooster as a year of activity, hard work, courage and success. Brimbank Council highly values its strong and constructive working relationship with the Victorian chapter of the Vietnamese community in Australia. Council's been fortunate to be able to support the chapter and the important work it does through our community grants program. The new council wants Brimbank to be even better for everyone in our community, a source of pride, a great place to live, work or visit. So we look forward to working in partnership with our community to enhance our city in the new year before us. I thank you again for the opportunity to be here today to celebrate with you all, and on behalf of the Brimbank Council I congratulate the Vietnamese community in Australia Victorian chapter and sincerely wish you and your families very good fortune, good health and success for the new year. Happy New Year, Rooster.
Thank you, John. So up next we welcome Councillor Jim Mehmeti, Mayor of the Dandenong Council. So Jim, come on stage.
Kế tiếp Châu xin mời ông Jim Mehmeti, thị trưởng Hội đồng thành phố Dandenong.
Chuk Mung Namui. I firstly would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land and pay my respects to their elders, both past and present. I'd also like to acknowledge the many federal members of parliament, state parliamentarians, mayors, councillors, and a special mention to my fellow councillor, ĐINH. As the Mayor of the City of Greater Dandenong, I'm proud to be here today to represent the most multicultural city in Victoria. It is indeed an honour to be with you to witness this traditional flag raising ceremony and welcome the Year of the Rooster. At today's celebration, as we remember your ancestors and particularly the men and women who have served in protecting Vietnam, we also benefit from bonding with family and friends as we celebrate the passing of another year, ending the old and welcoming the new. The exceptional Vietnamese culture, heritage is not only an inheritance of the past, reflecting the rich and diverse history, but is also a legacy for future generations. This is a valuable that sits at the heart of Greater Dandenong community. With more than 150 different nationalities, our city values the importance of promoting cultural cooperation and friendship, whilst sharing our many different cultures, religions, languages and cuisines. Thank you to the organisers of today's Tet Festival celebration. We all look forward to celebrating with song, dance and traditional cultural programs, and I'd like to especially thank you for sharing this special celebration with members of the wider community. On behalf of the City of Greater Dandenong, I'd like to wish your loved ones the very best for 2017. May it be a healthy and prosperous one. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. So up next, we have our very own president, Vivian Nguyen, President of Vietnamese Community Australia, Victoria Chapter. Vivian, come on.
Kế tiếp cháu xin mời bà Vivian Nguyễn, Chủ tịch của Cộng đồng Người Việt Victoria.
Good afternoon. I also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are gathering today and pay my respect to their elders past and present. I will try to keep this within my 3 minutes mark. To the Honourable Luke Donnell and our Victorian Government representative, Ms. Inga Palic, Shadow Minister for Multicultural Affairs and represent the state opposition. Our federal representatives, Mr. Tim Wilson, Federal Member for Goldstein, Ms. Joanne Ryan, Federal Member for Lawler, and represents the federal opposition leader, the Honourable Bill Shorten, Mr. Tim Watts, Federal Member for Gellibrand, the Honourable Marsha Thompson, the Honourable Robert Clark, Mr. Danny Pearson, Ms. Colleen Hartland, Mr. Bernie Finn, and Ms. Fiona Patterson, our state members of Parliament. To Helen Kapelos, the chairperson for the Victorian Multicultural Commission. She is here today, but she is not well, Andrew. That is why she's not speaking. To our councillors, Deputy Mayor Aaron Wood and your councillors from the City of Melbourne, to Catherine Cumming, the Mayor of the City of Maribyrnong and your councillors, to Mayor John Haddish and your councillors from the Brimbank Council, to Mayor Jim Mehmeti and your councillors from the Greater Dandenong, and also to Deputy Mayor Mike Zafiropoulos from the Manningham City Council. I also like to acknowledge the support of the Moonee Valley Council, who are not here today because of this Tet Festival coincide with their strategic weekend conference. To Mr. Bon Nguyen, President of the Vietnamese community in Australia, our faith leaders, our veterans, our business sponsors, community leaders, our media, VCE recipients, my fellow executive members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to acknowledge that this year's theme is about continuity and succession. I acknowledge the contribution made by Bon Nguyen, Phong Nguyen, and even Kevin Tran, who have been long-standing community leaders of the VCA, and the up-and-coming emerging leaders such as Albert Lee and Damien Nguyen, who are leading this festival this weekend. And the manifestation of this combination is a spectacular Tet event before us today. That continuity and succession is evident with current and new sponsors, volunteers, stores, and many more exciting activities about to be unfolded across this two-day festival. I'm sure as Member of Parliament, our councillors, faith leaders, sponsors, community leaders, volunteers, and individual citizens, you will be very proud of the investment you have made in our future leaders of this state and this nation. They are out there championing our multicultural state, our heritage and our identity. And indeed, they are flying our flag, the yellow flag that represents unity and strength of this community. And under this flag, the young people have shown you that what they are capable of. The State Festival is evidence of that unity and strength. I thank you on behalf of the VCA-VIC for your strong support of this committee and our endeavors. And we wish you all the very best of this year of the Rooster. Kính thưa quý vị, lúc nãy Celia Trần trong ban chấp hành cộng đồng đã chào đón tất cả quý vị và quan khách. Phường Vĩ xin được đôi lời đến quý vị. Sự tiếp tục và đào tạo thế hệ trẻ là nền tảng của hội chợ Tết năm nay. Sự tiếp tục của những người đi trước, quý vị lãnh đạo, quý vị cha anh đã gây dựng một sự nền tảng vững chắc. Và việc đào tạo thế hệ trẻ để giữ những phong tục truyền thống hay được duy trì và phát huy hợp cùng với những sáng kiến của giới trẻ đã được biểu hiện qua sự tổ chức với nhiều sáng kiến của hội chợ Tết năm nay. Chúng tôi hy vọng với sự hướng dẫn, hỗ trợ và đóng góp công sức tài chánh cho hội chợ Tết năm 2017, quý vị sẽ hài lòng với tất cả những khả năng, sáng kiến và niềm hãnh diện về nguồn gốc của mình, của giới trẻ chúng ta. Mọi người đến với nhau dưới lá cờ vàng vì lòng mong muốn phát huy phong tục truyền thống Việt Nam trong xã hội đa văn hóa và muốn thấy quê hương Việt Nam được sự tự do thanh bình thật sự. Ban chấp hành chúng tôi chân thành cảm ơn sự hỗ trợ và niềm tin quý vị đã đặt nơi các bạn trẻ trong việc làm rạng danh con rồng cháu tiên. Sự tham gia và đóng góp của quý vị là khích lệ lớn cho ban chấp hành chúng tôi. Ban chấp hành chúng tôi xin đại diện cho ban chấp hành cộng đồng người Việt tự do tại tiểu bang Victoria xin kính chúc quý vị năm mới mọi sự may mắn. Chân thành cảm ơn.
My apologies, Helen, she is here. So up next we have the Salesian group to perform an awesome dance.
And I'm just going to break Vietnamese for a second. So our VCE students who are going to be part of the next part of our ceremony, could you please get ready on the left side of the stage, please, our VCE students and recipients. Back to Vietnamese. Kế tiếp, Châu xin mời nhóm múa Salesian lên sân khấu. Nhóm múa Salesian sẽ trình diễn bong bóng bang bang.
Xưa ở một nơi đồng quê bát ngát, nhà kia có hai chị em tên được cha đặt là Tâm Cam. Từ thuở ấu thơ Tâm đã mơ về hơi ấm tay mẹ, sẽ có ngày tấm thân này đêm giữa thoát về nơi ấm êm.
Sinh ra trong gia đình cô ta có thương mình, thương thay cho thân phận đời cô Tâm. Vui chơi hay xa đà, sống chơi hay la cả, không quan tâm ai trời ơi con cá.
Lửa Tâm lấy hết cá tôm, một mình cắm mắt ôm chuyến không về nhà. Tâm ơi chớ lo, hạnh phúc sẽ đến với người thật thà. Ôi ai 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 ai, ôi ai 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 ai, ôi ai 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 ai, ôi ai 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 ai. Bông 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 bang bang lên ăn cơm bang nhà ta. Bông 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 bang bang chớ ăn cơm hầm cháo hoa nhà người. Bông 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 bang bang lên ăn cơm bang nhà ta. Bông 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 bang bang chớ ăn cơm hầm cháo hoa nhà người. Xưa ơi là xưa ở một nơi đồng quê bát ngát, nhà kia có hai chị em tên được cha đặt là Tâm Cam. Từ cô gắn thêm.
Sinh ra trong gia đình cô tâm không thương mình, thương thay cho thân phận đời cô thấp. Vui chơi hay xa đà, giống chơi hay la cả, không quan tâm ai trời ơi con cá.
Lừa tấm lấy hết plan đom, một mình thắm ấp công chiến công về nhà. Có người chớ lo, hạnh phúc sẽ đến với người thật thà. Ôi da, 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 da. 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 Bông 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 bang bang lên ăn cơm bạc nhà ta. Bông 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 bang bang chớ ăn cơm hầm cháo hoa nhà người. Bông 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 bang bang lên ăn cơm bạc nhà ta. Bông 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 bang bang chớ ăn cơm hầm cháo hoa nhà người.
Mẹ coi không mẹ?